Hey friends, Nas here. I hope you've all been well. Welcome back to Missing Person Cases, where we briefly dive into unsolved disappearances that may be lacking exposure in the public eye. We'll be going over a range of cases today ranging from the 2000s to the 2020s. Today, I'm bringing you episode 7 of Missing Person Cases. Without further ado, let's get into the video. 59-year-old Dwayne Lee Selby was last seen in Turley, Oklahoma on October 22, 2021. He and his longtime friend, roommate, and business partner, 76-year-old Jack Grimes, planned to attend a horse show and purchase a horse in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, a 4.5-hour drive to the south. The men were driving a maroon four-door 2001 Ford Taurus with Oklahoma license plate number ETW 614. They never made it to the horse show, and there's no evidence they left the local area at all. Both men disappeared. They left behind 14 horses and 2 or 3 dogs. His mother, 80-year-old Glenda Parton, who lived with her daughter and son-in-law about an hour from Turley, decided to report her son missing on October 25th. The police said they needed his social security number, so she decided to drive to Selby's home in Turley to get his social security card. She is known to have arrived at Selby and Grimes' house. A relative who lived within sight of the house saw her car in the driveway. She was last seen at 8 p.m. that day at a resource store in Owasso, Oklahoma. She had given a ride to one of Grimes and Selby's ranch workers. They purchased food, which was later found in Grimes and Selby's refrigerator. She was behaving normally in the store and didn't appear to be under duress. Parton's daughter stated it seemed strange that her mother would have given the person a ride to the store, since Parton did not drive after dark due to her eyesight. She's never been heard from again. On October 26th, when Parton didn't return home from what should have been a 2-hour round trip to Turley, her daughter and son-in-law went looking for her. They found her car, a red Kia Rio, parked on the side of the highway with the key in the ignition. There was no sign of Parton at the scene. Parton's daughter stated that her mother had never used the ignition key. Although her car was normally messy and full of various items, it was clean and neat when her family members found it. The can of pepper spray which she always kept attached to her purse was sitting in the car seat. Selby's car was found abandoned on Highway 75, near 56th Street North after he disappeared, and Grimes' car was found in Mohawk Park on October 25th. On October 31st, Grimes' body was found by deer hunters near 59th Place North in North Xanthus, less than a mile from his and Selby's home. He had been murdered. No one had been arrested in this case, and no suspects had been named. Parton's daughter-in-law stated Grimes had a reputation for helping others, including homeless people and those struggling with addiction, but it's unclear whether this was a factor in his disappearance and murder. Dwayne Lee Selby's description is that of a 5'9" to 5'11" Caucasian man, with brown hair and blue eyes. Glenda Parton's description is that of a 5'3" Caucasian woman, with brown hair and brown eyes. She was in great physical condition at the time of her disappearance, and was a very active woman for her age. Glenda also wears glasses. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office at 918-596-5601. In November of 2022, police announced they had a person of interest in Parton and Selby's disappearances. This person has not been publicly identified, but authorities stated that there was no evidence that either of them were still alive. The mother and son's disappearance and the murder of Grimes remain unsolved. 37-year-old Catherine Trute was last seen by her roommate at their residence in Alameda, California on January 6, 2010. She's never been heard from again. On January 9th, her tan 2003 Ford Ranger pickup truck with a bedliner and a California license plate number 7C23799 was found by federal park rangers at McClure's Beach at Point Reyes National Seashore in Marin County, California. 2 of her dogs were inside the truck. A third was leashed to a rock nearby. Trute, an avid hiker, has gone on many day trips to Point Reyes and is very familiar with the area. Her truck was still there the next day. which led the rangers to begin a search for its owner. McClure's beach can be pretty rough in the water, and parts of it are only safely accessed during the low tide. Tracker dogs traced Trute's scent to a trail leading to the beach, but no further. Foul play is not suspected in her case, but authorities believe she got into a mishap while hiking at the park. Trute is a graduate of California Culinary Academy and worked as a pastry chef in various restaurants before she injured her neck on the job and was left disabled. She took walks as a way of controlling her chronic pain, took classes in computer graphics, and taught art to children. Catherine Trute's description is that of a 5'10" to 6'2" Caucasian woman with brown hair and hazel eyes. She wears contact lenses and her ears are pierced. She was 37 at the time of her disappearance and would be 50 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Alameda Police Department at 510-337-8311. Unfortunately, Catherine Trute has never been found. "22-year-old Monica Moynan was last seen in Holly Springs, North Carolina, on April 7, 2019. She was working as a waitress at the Fuquay Verena restaurant and had a side business making and selling elderberry syrup. She was raising 2 daughters, a 3-year-old and an infant at the time. She lived an hour away from her mother, Melanie Tucker, and would sometimes go weeks without seeing or speaking to her, but they kept in frequent touch by text messaging. The last time the two women actually spoke to each other was in March of 2019. Between early April and late July, Tucker repeatedly texted Moynan asking to see her, but Moynan would always text back with an excuse as to why they could not meet. They continued to have conversations by text. In late July, Tucker spoke to the manager of Moynan's apartment, who said she hadn't seen her since late March. This conversation prompted Tucker to report her daughter missing. Police subsequently learned that Moynan had not used her credit cards, been to work at her waitressing job, or been seen at all since April 7th. They determined Brian Sluss, her former boyfriend and the father of her children, had been driving her car, using her cell phone, and impersonating her texts to Moynan's friends and posts on Moynan's Instagram account, had been staying at her apartment even though the building management had a trespass order against him. Brian gave multiple conflicting statements to the police about Monica's disappearance. In July, he told investigators that Moynan had become addicted to heroin and had run away in late June, after he tried home rehab to break her of the drug habit, and that he didn't know how to tell her family, so he just pretended to be her. During the months before Moynan was reported missing, he told other people that she was in a drug treatment facility. In August, Brian admitted to the police that Moynan was not in fact addicted to heroin, and she was very depressed. Moynan's relationship with Brian had been abusive. One of Moynan's co-workers at the restaurant saw Brian physically drag her out of the restaurant on more than one occasion and had seen bruises on her. She took out a domestic violence protective order against him in May of 2016, seeing he had punched and choked her on one occasion and tackled and thrown her on another. According to Moynan's loved ones, after she took out the protective order, she and Brian broke up, but he continued to stalk her and text her insistently. The texting stopped after April 7th. A friend of Moynan said Moynan believed that she was pregnant at the time of her disappearance, and a police search of Moynan's apartment on Timber Springs Court turned up a positive pregnancy test. Police seized several items from her apartment, including traps from the sink, the drain from the washing machine, a set of curtains, and a journal. Authorities also searched Brian's home and the home of his ex-wife, Geraldine Sluss. Brian had called Geraldine on April 7th, and after that, until their arrest, they were in regular communication, which they hadn't been since Moynan disappeared. Police found blood in the cracks between the kitchen tiles in one of the 3 residences they searched, and it was later identified as Moynan's. In May of 2020, Brian was arrested and charged with Moynan's murder, and Geraldine was charged with accessory after the fact to the murder and obstruction of justice in the case involving Moynan. Monica Day Moynan's description is that of a 5' to 5'2" Caucasian woman with brown hair and brown eyes. Her hair was colored green at the time of her disappearance, and is known to be colored often. She has tattoos of a sun on her left middle finger, a shamrock behind her right ear, a watercolor image of a fox on the back of her left shoulder, a Celtic symbol on her left arm, a tree on her right thigh, a princess crown between her right thumb and index finger, and a warrior princess on her left calf. Moynan's ears are pierced and her nose may be pierced, and she goes by the nickname Moni. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Holly Springs Police Department at 919-552-7110. Moynan's body has never been found, but foul play is suspected in her case due to the circumstances involved. 3-year-old Nilo Latimore was last seen in Cincinnati, Ohio, on December 4, 2020. He has never been heard from again, and his mother, Nitisha Latimore, disappeared with him. They lived on Melrose Avenue in the Walnut Hills area. At 3:30 a.m. on December 12th, Nitisha's body was found inside a body bag near the Purple People Bridge on the Ohio River. She had been stabbed to death. With her body was a Paw Patrol blanket with Nilo's blood on it. The next day, Nilo's stroller was found in the river near where his mother had been located. Neighbors reported hearing sounds of struggling coming from Nilo in Nitisha's apartment on December 5th. Investigators believe Nitisha was murdered that day by her boyfriend, Deshaun Brown. Authorities believe Brown threw Nilo into the Ohio River on December 6th, 5 days before he dumped Nitisha's body. A few days after Nitisha's body was found, Brown was charged with murder, felonious assault, gross abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence in Nitisha's case. He had purchased a body bag from eBay, and on December 11th he took an Uber ride with the bag to the Ohio River, telling the driver he was moving out and the bag contained his clothes. Deshaun is awaiting trial in Nitisha's case. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. Nilo Latimore's description is that of a 3' to 3'2" African-American male, with dark hair and brown eyes. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Cincinnati Police Department at 513-352-6943. Nilo's body has yet to be located, but foul play is suspected in the case due to the circumstances involved. 21-year-old Jessica Gillett was last seen leaving her residence on foot in Simmsport, Louisiana on September 7, 2013. She dropped her daughter off at her mother's home that day and has never been heard from again. When her mother went to Gillett's home, she discovered it had been ransacked. Her mother reported her missing on September 11th. Although Gillett had a substance abuse problem, it was uncharacteristic of her to drop out of sight for a few days at a time. She always returned home, or called to check on her children eventually. In October, 5 suspects were charged with aggravated kidnapping in Gillett's case. Asa Bentley, Chadwick McGee, Tamika Williams, Willie Price Jr., and Donnie Edwards. Bentley and McKee were also charged with aggravated assault with a firearm. Authorities believe Gillett was abducted because of some stolen cocaine and cash. There's a family connection between Williams and Gillett. Gillett's nephew is Williams' daughter's half-brother. When they were indicted, it was for the lesser charge of second-degree kidnapping. Williams pleaded guilty in October of 2013 and confessed to being in the car with the others while they were looking for Gillett. She subsequently testified against them at their trials, saying Gillett had been abducted and thrown into the back of their SUV. Williams stated Edwards was driving while Bentley sat on top of Gillett, threatened to kill her, and choked her as she begged for her life. For 10 to 15 minutes, William heard choking sounds and what sounded like someone being hit, followed by the sound of glass breaking and a smell as if someone defecated, but she didn't look behind her. Eventually, the others dropped Williams off at her apartment. The next day, Bentley took her to a local field, where he said he dumped Gillett's body, but Williams refused to go look at it. He told her she was going to move the body. When police searched the SUV, they found no forensic evidence. However, the vehicle's owner, who was Bentley's girlfriend, had filed a police report to say the SUV had been vandalized and a window was broken, which was consistent with Williams' statement. McGee was convicted of simple kidnapping in July of 2014 and was sentenced to life in prison without parole after being designated as a habitual offender. His conviction was subsequently vacated after the appeals court ruled that the evidence showed only that McGee was present at the time of Gillett's kidnapping. The prosecution appealed the case to the Louisiana Supreme Court, who reinstated McGee's conviction. Bentley and Price were convicted of second-degree kidnapping in January and March of 2015. In May, just before the trial was to begin, Edwards pleaded guilty to simple kidnapping, but none of them have been charged with murder. Jessica Gillett's description is that of a 5'2" African-American woman, with dark hair and brown eyes. Gillett has a tattoo of the letters HBC on her left hand. She also has a scar on the left side of her face, going from the corner of her mouth to her left cheek. Jessica Gillett was 21 when she went missing, and would be 31 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Avondale Parish Sheriff's Office at 318-253-4086. Gillett left behind 2 children. Although she'd been in trouble with the law and had been involved with drugs when she was in her teens, her mother said she'd been trying to straighten out her life. Foul play is suspected in her case due to the circumstances involved. Unfortunately, her whereabouts remain a mystery. Two-year-old Samantha Cavallo was last seen in Suffern, New York on February 3, 2001. She was abducted by her non-custodial mother, Ann Yermak Cavallo, during a court-ordered overnight visitation. Ann filed for divorce from Samantha's father, Michael Cavallo, 3 weeks after Samantha's birth. Michael stated every time he saw Samantha, afterward Ann would accuse him of abusing the child. Authorities investigated her allegations and determined they were all without foundation. The psychiatrist testified he thought Ann suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a rare disorder which could cause Ann to abuse Samantha and or subject her to unnecessary medical treatment for non-existent illnesses. Ann took Samantha to 7 different doctors 33 times in the 11 months after her birth, and none of the doctors could find anything wrong with her. The psychiatrist thought Michael should have custody, and Ann's visitations with Samantha should be supervised. An FBI warrant for kidnapping was issued for Ann on January 15, 2002. She also had warrants out for her arrest on charges of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, custodial interference, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Her last known address was in New Hyde Park, New York. Her date of birth is March 25, 1963, making her 37 years old at the time of Samantha's abduction. She is described as a Caucasian, 5 foot and 120 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes, and wears eyeglasses while driving and may wear contact lenses tinted brown. She may use the last names Yermak, Saul, or Kaplan, and may have cut her hair short and dyed it blonde. She has an accounting degree from Brooklyn College and has previously worked in that field. She has a dental condition and may seek treatment for it. Ann and Samantha were originally traveling in a black 4-door 1996 Suzuki Sidekick Sport with a gold-colored bumper and New York license plates. It was recovered in a parking garage in New York City borough of Brooklyn 2 months after Cavallo's disappeared. Ann and Samantha may frequent doctor's offices and other medical facilities and may be with an adult female relative. They may be accompanied by a 12-pound red miniature Tibetan Spaniel or Tibetan Terrier dog named Vodka. Ann and Samantha may be in the New York City area, or in Palm Beach County, or Boynton Beach, Florida, Illinois, or New Hampshire. In 2006, there were sightings of the pair that were reported in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The reports have not been confirmed, but they are believed to be credible. The New Mexico witnesses described the child as quiet and withdrawn, and stated her mother did not interact with her much. Michael stated he believes Samantha and Ann are moving frequently to different places around the country, and using 2 or 3 different aliases. He believes Ann's mother may be assisting them, as she has refinanced her house several times. Michael's theories have not been verified. Samantha is believed to be at risk, and her mother may have been abusing her prior to her vanishing. Samantha Cavallo's description is that of a 2'9" Caucasian female, with light brown hair and brown eyes. She was 2 years old at the time of her disappearance, and would be 24 now if she was found. If you have any information in regards to the case, please contact the Rockland County Sheriff's Office at 845-638-5400. Michael now lives in New Jersey and is actively searching for his daughter. He believes Anne may be homeschooling Samantha, as he cannot find evidence that she is enrolled in school anywhere. Sadly, Samantha's case remains unsolved. I want to express my sincerest condolences to the people who tragically lost their lives to these monsters. I hope that the family and friends of these people are able to receive the closure someday. I really appreciate you all. It means a lot to hear kind words and constructive criticism. Anything to help make the channel better and a more effective one is always appreciated. As always, thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.